Hey everybody. Good morning. It's what do they say? Good morning. Vietnam. Here we are, right? Monday freaking morning, man. Snuck up on me in a hurry. How about you guys? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. All right, do we want to trade today? I mean, it's already. I mean, look at the screens, look at the future screens. It's already like, hey, enter here at 75.12. Risk was only $1.50. Already hit target one. Not bad. Not bad. How about the zone trade from the NASDAQ futures? Right from the bottom zone, boom, pushed up, hit the golden pocket here on the NASDAQ futures, right? Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. So, what has happened so far? So, we had a gap up, right? We came down into a demand zone before, the market opened, and then we gap up. We basically gapped up. I don't know. Maybe, you could literally say we gapped up into a ES supply zone here, right on the gap up, and after we wake up. So, did we move into basically just opening up into resistance? You know, man, I'd hate to say we did, guys. So this is one of those things where, if you had some stuff on, then that was awesome. You're able to take some off. So futures traders, anyone that had maybe ES contracts long. This is that thing that I always talk about. If you're trading futures, fun. Like I got to yesterday, right before I went out, we went out to I gotta tell you guys a story. It's absolutely crazy. First day back for you, JK. What's up, man? What's up? I have to tell you guys this story a little bit later, but we'll keep it on trading for right now, I guess. All right. So we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I got to meet the CEO of this company, and we talked yesterday, and I have to tell you about what he did. Freaking nuts. Let's see. Okay, let's go right here. All right, let's look at the SPX chart. So we're going to bring everybody over to the main, bring everybody here. Trading, same thing. Bring everyone to main if you want to hang out. Let me get my earphones situated here. Drinking my coffee. Everything's going good. Just chilling. Watching us hit target 2 here. On the NASDAQ. Just relaxing. Kind of thinking like I should have. I'm actually thinking I should have taken these trades a little bit earlier so I could be finished with those. But what I was going to say is, again, reminder, please follow me over on X. Okay. So, I mean, if you're in the room, you guys should already know this, right? So here I am, hanging out, talking about shorting oil. Not only did, the contracts that I bought for the upside paid like 100 and something percent. And then I ended up closing them for only like 65% maybe, the call side. I stayed short. Nice, Jack. Good job. Good job. I stayed short on oil futures, and I was making a point over here to make sure you guys understand. Like, check this out, man. Check this out. That's one contract, guys. Just one contract. So it's like, yeah, I might have been under a little bit, for a couple days, right? It's awesome. MES Trader, I am in the chat room. I did not see that's because you didn't listen. No, we didn't listen. We don't send future trades and alerts. You just got to be on the audio. That's so talked about this like I don't know a million times, but this was a great trade and it worked out. Made a little bit of money, right? And I kind of think about it like if I'm showing you guys how to trade micros and you just try to make like $100 or something a day, like if you didn't close your swing trade out and then you close and then it's like, you make 500 or 600 bucks. Hey, it's like 5 days worth of work on the micros. Not bad, not bad, not bad. What you say? Yeah, Michelson, I'm on a family vacation I forgot about. LOL. I'm up as usual while the fam sleeps. Heck yeah, man. There you go. Hmm. But over here, guys, so one of my things is I like to talk to you guys and just kind of tell you about my life and it's cool like we trade and I spend a lot more time with you, right? So there's not like this schedule in here where I feel like we talk a lot. We talk about trading, we teach, but maybe you want to hear this, maybe don't. It's Monday morning, but it's important to me that we understand that, like, for me, like, I think education is a very key part to your muscle memory, I guess, and trading. So please ask me questions, and I love to teach. I do want to keep it, um, to a minimum. I think that's why we have so many classes and we have a lot of free content. So, like, Mel does a lot of free content on her YouTube. I don't I should probably change some things because I think when you get on YouTube and you look at the video and it's like, oh, this is 4 years ago, people feel like they need something newer. But with the trendy methodology, um, I haven't changed anything. Been teaching the same thing for many, many years. And right now is actually in my thought process are the beta indicators are the first time that I've created indicators, different indicators. Ex- the last one that I did was the trendy turns. And the trendy turns is a combination of the TTM squeeze, right? So a lot of you guys, like if you don't hear me on the mic, you might have not known that. But I mean, I studied the squeeze for a very long time. So some people are like, "Oh, you don't really talk about the squeeze." That's because the first year I was here at Simpler, before I was bought out, I was like a contractor. I studied the TTM squeeze and I wanted to relate to everybody that was here. My thoughts were, if I could figure out TTM squeeze and how it relates to supply and demand, then this would be a beautiful thing for our customers, right? So the trendy turns is the partially basically based off of the compression. What I found is anytime you get close to a zone and we start to see the compression is where we want to get in. Because I noticed there's not, um, you know, most of the time it's not telling me to get in on the squeeze when we're pushing down, right? And I love buying when we're going down into a zone. So just as a reminder, trendy turns do incorporate the squeeze. That's what it's all, that's really what it's about. So Mel came up with her, uh, her, I guess, addition of how she felt, she wanted to teach about her, confirmation. And then so this thing here on my page, the indicator that answers, and I really feel this is true, and I keep talking about it, I'm gonna keep reminding you guys, the beta indicator, it really does answer the 4 questions I think that all traders should be thinking about. Where do I enter? Where does my stop go? How much am I risking? Where do I take profits? So this indicator, which I think I like this name, I'm gonna stick with this name, Trendy Precision, right? Because Mel is very precise. Zones are very precise, and so it's just a great combination. And you really don't have to guess, right? So I feel like this new beta indicator, it should be available when Mel and I do our next webinar in September. It's supposed to be like September 23rd. All right. So we'll be introducing, a couple new things. We'll have some great deals for you guys, and then we'll also have the indicator available. Until then, right? Until then, we still have the beta indicator going. And I mean, you could still look at it and see, hey, okay, cool. I can go long here or I can go short. Totally up to you. but we'll talk more and more about it. I noticed, not everybody could be in here. A lot of people are like on vacation. When I'm talking, it's not like I'm looking at who's actually in here, meaning I have a list of people who are attending. And so I don't look at that, right? I don't see what names. So I don't know who's in and out. But hopefully, when they go back and they watch a recording, they can hear these type of things and just know what we're talking about. Okay. But I love it. I think it's great. It's a great combination. I don't have to count candles, those type of things. I have a couple other ideas right before we actually release it that I would like to incorporate really soon. And then so just ask me questions if something looks different or you don't understand. All right. Man, the boat ride, thanks for asking. The boat ride with my father you guys have no idea. He was absolutely just my brother said he would not stop talking about it for like 2 days. I mean, I feel like we literally like changed their life. This is him right here. It's just like he we got to it's about first of all, it was really glassy. It was beautiful. And we see dolphin. It's a smooth ride. Look at the glass. I mean, this is really glassy, guys, because it can get super um nasty out there sometimes. But we get out and I don't know if you guys know this, but the Blue Angels, they practice on certain days here. So we basically have our Blue Angels show twice a week when they're here. So they go out over the Gulf and they do basically their same air show they do. So my dad got to see that. He got to get on the boat. My mom was there as well. And then we went out to the Gulf. It's not as pretty as it has been in the past years. We've got a lot of rain, a lot of storms, so the water's actually not beautiful. Typically, when you go out there, it looks like the Bahamas. Like seriously, it's absolutely gorgeous. Not lately, man. But anyways, they were still in heaven, and he hasn't stopped talking about it since then, Rob. So very, very, very happy. Yeah, and I recorded a little bit of it right here, and it was super cool. And there's some Bruce Springsteen, singing in the background. I think it's Bruce Springsteen, "Summer of '69" or whatever, or is it? Yeah. So, pretty cool. Yeah, that's right. Zone plus edges plus cloud is your edge. Will you please put out a deal for both rooms, the indicator and the precision class, like a super elite package? Yeah, I mean, gosh, man, I hope so. I'm sure we will. I'm trying to get excited. I'm trying to get pumped up for this morning because I'm like, man, is this like one of those things where we gapped up and now we're just gonna go sideways when we open up? What do you guys think? Guess it doesn't matter. Who cares? Right? Let's just trade the PMZ, trade some edges. All right, let's pull in the trading view. All right. Let's pull up trading view. This is SPX. Let's take a look at it. Let's talk about it real quick. SPX room. Good morning. You know, let's get involved here. 7 o'clock in the morning. It is 7:18. We have a few minutes to talk. Maybe a little bit of psychology, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We've moved up. It doesn't matter. We had like a little supply zone that was here, right? We gapped right through that, so that didn't really count. But we did make it to the bigger supply zone, and we open up in there. And I want to talk about supply zones, and I want to talk about demand zones. All right, a supply zone is a place where basically retail traders typically start buying is right around here, and then it pushes up a little bit, and then they get caught, and then prices fall, right? And prices fall to demand or imbalances in the market. The imbalance would be you replacing this gap here with a candle. So I always want you guys to visually see what this actually looks like. So you have a move that looks like this. This is what it actually looks like. All right. Yeah, there's a gap there, but this gives you a better representation of what you're dealing with. So you get this big candle that the majority of people right? The majority of people, if you remember from the BMA, were sitting, they're fearful, right? And when the market's fearful, you get big moves like this, and most of those people are not sitting on profits, you know? So the imbalance where people would like to get back in, smarter money in my opinion, sits and waits, right? And they want to see if we can get, you got some people that say, hey, we need a gap fill, those type of things, right? And the truth of the matter is that the catalyst, it primarily is war, right? Was able to get us to gap up into a supply zone. And some people feel like, hey, the market's rigged. This is the reason why it's went down. But the reason why we went up, we came back to this area, we gapped into the supply zone, and then we break down. And that's all it is. I don't want you to overthink this. Okay. Now, the harder part is the part where I'm about to talk about. And it's like, if this, then that. And a lot of us are going to think, is this for real? Should we buy the dip on the open? My whole thing is like, you buy the dip where you believe buyers are going to show up and you execute it. And if you're wrong, I think you still should earn some of a trader's respect by taking that trade, you know, because I think this is difficult. I really do. I think it's difficult to do. And a lot of people will talk and teach, but they won't actually take the trade. Um, I like taking the trades as well. And if I take a loss, at least I put my money where my mouth is. You know what I mean? So here we are. And one thing that Trendy teaches is measuring gaps. All right. So what you could do is remember filled candles close at the bottom of the body, right? So one thing you could do is anchor your Fibonacci at the bottom of the body where the gap happened all the way to the high. So you're going to measure this here, all right? So we can measure this move. You're going to anchor from the bottom to the top. And then you're going to find levels like the 23.6, the 38.2, the 50 by the 618, and so forth, right? So you basically have lines that look like this, right? And you got to figure out it's like, okay, it's a gap up. Which line do I want to take? Each one of these you could try to take if you think, people are going to buy the dip. Okay. And what you could do is you could take the Fibonacci's and you can apply zones in your head when you're looking at this. And the distance between the 23 and the 38 is a zone, right? So this would be a zone. The 38 by the 50 could be a zone. The 50 by the 618 could be a zone, right? Now, like you got zones everywhere. Honestly, you got zones everywhere, and it's like, okay, which one do I take? Sometimes the difference between the two is really where it comes down to. It's like, well, the risk on this trade is going to be X amount if I try this zone. Okay. So that's one thing to think about. All right. The next thing to think about is there confluence. So if we draw Fibonacci's or anchor them, do we have confluence somewhere? All right. So we're going to take these fibs. I'm going to go underneath here. I don't try to be perfect, and do that right there. All right. And you got to see that we're at the 23.6, and then we have the 38.2, and then we have the 50 and the 618. Now, there's a couple things that you could do here. Like the question, okay, but if I anchor here, couldn't I just anchor over here at the pivot low and come to the pivot high? Right? So when I teach measuring gaps, okay, I still want you to look for confluence. Like, for example, this 23.6 actually does have confluence with this inside and out formation, right? Let me go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see that. All right. So this 23.6 is underneath this inside and up formation right here. Everybody see that? So this is an inside and up formation. Price has created the inside and up, and now it has rejected in supply and is pushing back down to that little bit of imbalance of it inside and up, and it's popped. So you have confluence here. Now, right in this dead space, we have an inside and up where I have a trigger long, and you have no Fibonacci there. Not a big deal, not a big deal, but I want to point these things out to you, okay? Now, what if I were to take Fibonacci and place it from the pivot low over here to the pivot high? Does it make any difference? Okay, well, it sort of does. Notice that your 23.6 is now more aligned from this pivot low to this pivot high with this formation that I have your trigger long underneath. Okay, so this one is a little bit more confluent in this perspective, but measuring the gap to the high, this right here, where it's bouncing currently, also looks good. So you can have what we call a primary and a secondary Fibonacci. Okay, that's just basically you're using two different fibs. All right. Now, when you use two different fibs, you can also look for confluence of coefficients. Like, hey, maybe your primary coefficient is overlapping the secondary coefficient, and you have structure there, right? So what I'm looking at are any of these lines kind of like sitting on top of each other, and are they sitting around a certain area where I'd, most likely see a bounce? Not really, not in this situation, because guys, we had a pretty big gap, right? So we don't have a lot of confluence. Matter of fact, the only confluence we have is after we gapped up to supply, we broke down, and then buyers came back in and they created the pivot in the market that we are now looking at. All right. So this gap up, this little bit of pivot here, I don't think it's that strong, just my opinion, because in my mind, this is not like institutional strength or anything like that. This is probably like night traders, that type of thing coming in and taking over. All right. So there's not a whole lot that I could do far as finding where I want to get long once we drop below this, right? There's nothing in here. It's just space. And you can see this space right in here as well, right? It's kind of hollow. So that's why a lot of people say, once we break through here, most likely going to head back down to where you have this volume, right? And you have this inside and out formation. Now, I don't want to overload you on Monday morning with too much information, but it really is a lot easier on days like this to already have a position. Like, for example, I'm short oil, made a couple $100. Yay, I'm happy. It's good. Do I really need to trade this morning? Of course. Hell yeah. I'm a degenerate. I'm going to trade the PMZ as soon as it comes out. I'm going to trade my zones. I'm going to trade the shotgun method. It's fun. Like, why are you here? Right? We're going to trade. So let's make sure that we have a plan. All right. So what I would like to do is tell you why I have the levels here that I have. So the supply zone itself, if we go over to a 4-hour, okay, and I were to look at this, there's several different ways I could actually create this zone. Okay. So I want to talk about that with you. So if I come up here, I could do this, and I'll show you why. This right here is a rally candle. This is an inside candle, and then we start to go down here, okay? And notice the down candles, the bigger they are, probably the more volume, the more impact they would have, right? Just something to know, all right? You can change these to be as big as you want. I know people who literally look for the formations, okay, watch this, and only take into consideration wicks. So like, for example, this right here would be the supply zone. Everything else would just be waypoints where they take profits and stuff. Quite honestly, as long as you understand the structure here, you don't have to have a big zone around it. You could just have places where you draw your lines to know where you want to take profits, okay? Now, when I'm teaching, okay, in this case, I have it like this, all right? It's a bigger zone, but please understand you can have it smaller if you like. What is the benefit? All right. So somebody that has like this little tiny zone up here, but they have nothing in here, sometimes what you see is price will do this and never get there, right? And so the problem sometimes is that people who are more concerned about how much the risk is, they tend to draw zones that are a lot smaller. And in this case, when price is moving up, it may not get there. So they might be in a situation where they say, I never got the short, right? And let's just say that price never goes back up here for the whole week. They're like, I didn't get the short, right? So what I do a lot of times is you'll notice that I have bigger zones, okay, like this, but I have a way to trade that bigger zone, okay? So it makes sure most of the time that I'm actually getting to the destination I need it to be, but I'm also open-minded that once you cross this barrier, okay, so this line, your entry line into the bear house, okay, once you cross that line, you could stay long as this is being respected. This entry line then becomes your support, okay? And price can continue to rise inside a supply zone into the next level. So you might see, especially on this chart, that I may have another line that says trigger short, okay? So for example, if we hold this level today, okay, then there's a possibility that we can move up towards this level here around 7,500 in the SPX. At 7,500 and some change, you could, guys, if you don't know the targets, look over here to the right and you'll see the ribbon or the button or whatever they call this thing. They'll have this right here. That's going to tell you what the number is, okay? So as long as you know where that is, you have an idea where you may want to take your profits or where you want to take a look to see if the confirmation starts to set up, okay? All right. To the downside, the best thing that I could tell you is let's use it if this, then that. For example, let's say that you draw your fibs over here at that pivot low to pivot high. I want you to start to practice saying to yourself before the market opens, if this, then that. If price breaks down below the 23.6, then stay out of the way. Look for sideways to down until it reaches the next entry or the Fibonacci level. In this case, I have one right here, right around the 38.2. Okay. If price drops below the 618, I have an 85% probability I'll hit the 88.7. If this, then that, those type of things. Okay. If you want to just measure the gap, it's about right there. Okay. So right here, 618. So I'd always get these questions. Hey, John, how do we know if it's going to fill the gap? I don't know. Actually, I don't have a crystal ball. So the only thing that I could do is use Fibonacci's. So if we were to break below the 618, this is the only place that I actually feel pretty confident that will fill the gap. Okay. Now, your conviction can become a lot sooner than that. Your conviction could happen after the 38.2 or the 23.6. You could say, hey, wait, John's taught me that the 23.6 is the extreme bull channel of this move. Price drops under this, it's no longer extremely bullish. So you could say, I'm going to go ahead and just look for sideways to down until we get back above the 23.6. Okay. Now, this type of trading can be difficult because we as humans deal with FOMO. We deal with the need to take a trade, even though like I tell you not to speculate, we tend to want to speculate. Am I right? We really do. Some of you guys are really, really good at not speculating. So, what do you do when you're not speculating? That's simple. You wait for a level, like I said on the BMA, then you take your trade. And I said this week, one thing that I would challenge you with is only trade if it hits a level. Only trade if it hits a level. And I'm primarily talking to people who have a very hard time with not being able to wait. Just practice. Practice. Say, I will not take a trade unless it hits a level. All right. Then take a trade. All right. Now, when price gets to these levels, just like I'm about to teach you on the PMZ, you use the same process. Okay. So, for example, you have these two little entry lines here, right? Now, I could put a zone right here if I wanted to, right? This is your blueprint. You could do whatever you want. I could create a zone here, and my zone would be 7463 by 7449. Now, each one is independent of itself and it's not necessarily a demand zone, but I can create a zone and I could trade it just like a zone. If price breaks down and comes into this entry long, what I could start doing here, that's right, Rom, what I could start doing here is looking for confirmation. I could look for just a higher low. I could look for an inside and up formation on a 1 minute, a 2 minute, a 3 minute. I can look for a trendy turn signal. There's several different things that you can look for. Okay. One of my favorite things when I teach is remember the trendy edge is not just a line, it's a zone. But one thing that you can learn by watching price action, when I went back and created the process many years ago, is I would notice that we would break through the line. And then once we reclaim it, I really like the entries here. Okay. And if you think about this, the concept, when you look at it, you go back and you back test, typically would have an inside and out formation or a pivot around the edges. You may even see like Mel's confirmation process there. Okay. But primarily what's happening is you're getting higher lows, higher highs, and people have basically flushed an important level and then reclaimed it. And that reclaim has always given me the conviction or the confidence to go ahead and take that trade. It's like, oh, wait. They really do want that level, right? They really do want it. And then I try to jump on with them. Okay. So today's move is really about whether or not this is an actual supply zone and we just break down, or do buyers keep this afloat with the gap? And the best way to do this, guys, is find the 23.6 and the 38.2 and just say to yourself, if this gap is real, buyers will hold the 23 by 38.2. Okay? Everybody understand that? All right. It's easy. It really is that easy. 23.6 by the 38.2. If they hold it, then it is a bullish gap. All right. So that's what we'll be looking for. That's your primary numbers today. So for anyone, I don't care what you're trading, could be Nvidia, Apple, all of that stuff. If they all have a gap up, just measure it. Use the Fibonacci that we've taught you. Okay. All right. So my plan, my intention today is to really be focused around those two things that I just said, but also the PMZ. All right. We're going to look at a few charts today, but the PMZ, again, very simple, aggressive or conservative strategy. Aggressive, this is a gap up. Let's say that we are opening up above the PMZ. Okay. on the 5-minute candle. Aggressive would be, I'm not even going to wait for the 5 minute to close. It's doing this thing, right? It's like dancing, right? And as soon as it comes down close to the PMZ, I'm just going to go long, and I'm looking for buyers to show up. That's aggressive. Conservative, you're waiting for the candle to close no matter what. Say, so you wait for it to close way up here, and then you're going to wait for it to pull back before you take action at the PMZ. Okay. Now, in this gap up, this is important. Listen to me. I'll try to slow this down. In this gap up, it's bullish. And I just said, let's see if it can hold the 23.6 and the 38.2 of the gap. Where are those levels today in relationship to the PMZ? That's something you probably need to know. And the reason why I say that, hypothetically, let's say that the PMZ, you have it mapped out and it looks great. But you forgot about that one thing, finding the 23.6 and 38.2. Let's just say that the 23.6 is sitting right underneath the PMZ this morning. Okay. Somebody will go short right into a major level, especially if it's close. So what I want you to see is that the proximity to these levels are close to the PMZ. If they are, I'd stay away, or I would actually combine the levels just like this. What's up, DJ? I would combine the levels just like this and make your PMZ wider. Everybody understand? Because you don't want to be the person that tries to go short right into the 23.6 and then boom, it rips your face off. And then we go back to, see, guys, remember when I told you that the 23.6 to 38.2 is extremely bullish of the gap up and you just try to go short? You're going to be reminded very quickly. All right. Now, in saying that, at the end of the day, you could do what you want to do. And I think sometimes this is where trading gets difficult, is because we put so much emphasis on technical analysis when really in reality we have no idea what's going to happen most of the time, right? It's like, well, it's all about risk. So if you want to go short there and the 23.6 is right underneath and your risk is only a couple points, but you want to go for it, you have every right to do that. I think that's where I actually separate myself from a lot of technical traders, is they overanalyze. You start overanalyzing, start getting too picky, all you're going to do is keep talking about all the trades that, oh yeah, well, I didn't take that because it didn't set up. But then it does set up, and then before you know it's up 10 or 20 points and you didn't take that trade. Then you didn't take that trade. You didn't take this trade. I see that a lot. Right. And then when you finally take a trade, you make like 5 or 10%, right? It's like, okay, you missed 100% on the last one. So don't overanalyze, guys. All right. It's more about the risk. All right. So if we move on from the SPX chart, there's another thing that I want you to think about when I show you the ES and the NASDAQ. So this is SPX. It's really not that impressive. It's just a chart that gapped up into a supply zone. Cool. All right. So now let's move on to Thinkorswim. ES futures here. Okay. This is a 4-hour. Let's take a look at the 2-hour. Okay. Looks like this. All right. Perspective. See what I just did there? Perspective. Okay. Perspective. Big picture, you are sideways. Smaller picture, we simply just gapped up into that channel there. Okay. Just like that. But let's talk about it. It's the same exact thing I just went over with you on SPX. That's what's beautiful about charts. This was actually one of the things that got me super excited when I started to become more intelligent about trading, is that I started to realize that charts are just charts. Doesn't matter what name's behind them. It really doesn't. They move the same way. They flow the same way. And you could take them and you can use Fibonacci's and you can find structure on any chart and trade it the same exact way. It doesn't matter if it's crypto. It doesn't matter if you're trading options. It doesn't matter if it's Forex. It doesn't matter. It's just all the same, guys. Same thing with futures. Got a couple people that text me over the weekend. John, I got futures access. Show me the way. I have shown you the way. It doesn't change. It's all the same. Okay. This morning, I wanted to show you this. I had the bearish GP, and one thing I could have done here, and it doesn't matter, but you could have extended the bearish GP to look like this. Okay. And this would have looked like the SPX, right? Where you gapped into the sell zone. Now, why would I extend the bearish GP here? Because this big candle here on the 2-hour. All right. That's why. All right. There is confluence here. All right there. But that's okay, guys. I used the liquidity chop for this level for us. Okay. Notice here my liquidity chop, since given to you this morning before price got there, has yielded you 8 points. So for my future traders here, you should already be profitable this morning. It's pretty awesome, right? And if you come over here and look at our blueprints, look at this. This room can make you money. All right. And I'm going to be very honest with you guys. We are way too inexpensive. I'm still surfing around, watching people trade. I even have some secret subscriptions. And I'm telling you right now, no one comes close to this room. And I'm not being biased. I'm not being egotistical. I'm telling you, I don't see anybody with as many setups as we have that win as much as we do. What I do see is a lot of people marketing, they're big barkers, right? But they don't talk about all the other stuff I see, which is pretty crazy. But that level right there is some sick wizardry. Like right there, guys. That is me identifying a level where I want to take money from other people. Now you're trading with big money, right? The idea is that we take money from small money. We take money from people that don't have a good process. We do things differently. Up here this morning, I want you to be careful in this area. This is where I would want to take stops from people that are going short. So the idea is that you don't get long at this level, you get long down here. Remember, buy when we're moving down to the upside and go short when we're moving to the upside, right? It's like the opposite of what most people do. I know I make it sound easy, but most people buy up here and they short down here. Oh, I know, John, that's easy. Buy low, sell high, right? Then why does everybody do it the opposite? Pretty cool. This bearish GP area we may or may not get to. I'm not really sure. All right. But what I do know is that there's this little yellow line in there. That is the trendy edge. Okay. That is the weekly trendy edge. And when you take your eyeballs and you run to the left-hand side here, you're going to find that there is an inside and down on the 2-hour. If price, if this and that today, guys, if price stays above the PMZ, moves past the liquidity chop, holds it, we have a pretty good chance we're going to move up into the trendy edge around 75.5. So some of you will ask me the question, John, where do you think we'll pin today? My answer to you on a guess of speculation that we can move up towards this area right here. And it makes sense to me, 75.5. All right, because it's a half. It's not too far away. But let's do a little bit of math. Typically, 65 will bring 100. This is fun. Okay. So 35 more points. Let's add that to our numbers. 7513 plus 35 equals 7548. Again, that puts me right in this area. SPX room. All you have to understand from this, because it's not an SPX chart, is that I want price to go up 35 more points. Now, a trade idea, if you do a pin, is really inexpensive. It really is very inexpensive. Another trade idea, when you're not trying to pin things, called debits make more sense. Okay. If we dip down this morning a little bit further than expected, say in this area, okay, right in here, I could buy the 7540 by 7550 ES futures option. Okay, I'm giving you trade ideas for today, guys. All right. Future traders, I think I don't know if you have futures access, if you automatically get access to the options. I have no idea. It's been so long. All right. But this is a 0 DTE. This is a 1 DTE. Let's say I come in, we dip a little bit more. It's later in the day, whatever. I could go with the 1 DTE, or we could do 0. All right. So if I come over here and I'm looking for the 7550, I always think to myself, is there a lot of people thinking like me right now? And a lot of times what you could do is you could run this across here, and you could see at this very moment that there are 3,516 on the volume. And it happens to be the biggest number out of this. You guys see that? So there are people thinking that that number is important. Here's the thing that all these unusual option activities and companies like that, not talking crap about anybody, but I've never found them useful, because I was taught that these numbers over here can be highly manipulated. So what I'm saying is, check this out. This might blow your mind. Yeah, you might be able to decipher from your, your guru stuff that, like, someone said, hey, if you look at this, you could tell if you buy or sell. But here's the trick. I've been told that big money will go out into the market just to throw people off, say buy these, but what they're doing is maybe they're selling these over here. So sure, you may like find out that somebody's buying the 7550s, but what you might not know is they might have actually sold those but bought tomorrow's 7550s. So while we're on that subject, I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of things people could do with options to throw you for a loop. We are retail traders. The information we are given, I always believe, is late. It's never in our favor. That's how I feel, unless you're using supply and demand. My trade idea for today, okay, I prefer, if you're going to put some money there, I would probably go with the 1 DTE. Okay. Now, let's talk about the ES futures really quick. 7550 right here, you probably think, oh man, that's expensive, right? I mean, it's pretty expensive. So it's $7. But with ES futures, you're actually paying not $700, but you're actually paying $350. It's half of what it shows. Now, if I were to buy a debit spread, 40 by 50, I'm paying the difference between those. Let's say I get this one for 10 and I sell this one for 680. Okay. Then I'm only paying about, let's say, about what, 6 to 10, 7, 3. Like it's only like 320. And it's half of that. So let's just say $3. So I'm actually paying $150 for this trade idea. Okay. Now somebody in here is probably new and they're like, man, this is way too much for me. Like you hear the word futures and you can't even mentally be there. I used to be like that when I first started trading. I'm like, man, if someone talks about futures, guys, it's just a chart. But what you could do is you could come out and you can trade the SPY. So if I believe we're going to go up another 30 something points, then we're talking about what? $3.50 in the SPY. Okay. Remember, we have this call here that we bought the other day right here. Okay. And we're almost in the money, by the way. This one right here is our hedge for 18 September. And this one right here is the dip that we bought a couple days ago. Okay. So for my people who are just listening to me and they're like, John, I don't trade futures. I don't do it, man. The reason why I talk about ES futures is because you could trade the SPY and the SPX off of it. All right. So the same idea is right in here looking for the 750. Sorry, not the 750. It'd be about 748. My bad. All right. So we're looking for about 748. All right. So take a look at these 747 to 748 when we open up and if we have a little dip. And if I say, hey, I like things here, then this could be a good option to buy. Now you could buy straight up or you could do call debits. Totally up to you. You can do whatever you want. I can't tell you what to do, but this is the level that I'm looking for. Okay. All right. So that is one trade plan. Let's come over here. Let's talk about the week. Go back to the charts we used on the BMA. All right. Your major level is 7551. Okay. Weren't we just talking about this level? So all eyes are kind of pointing towards this level, and we could retrace or go sideways from there. Let's think about our catalysts that are happening this week. So on Wednesday, we have the rate decision. Sitting in this chair, you get to see a lot of things over the years, but a lot of things happen the same way over and over. The only difference is the way that people display it in social media and on media. They create the hype, if you will. But candles, they always move the same. Prices moving towards a supply zone, towards this number, and most likely it's going to come into here and kind of do this thing and then wait for the catalyst. And from there, the catalyst is going to push this up towards probably these monthly edges in here, towards another supply, or the catalyst is going to push us down a little bit into a little demand zone that we find. But most likely, after 2 weeks down, we're moving back up towards some supply into a big catalyst. Now, many will say, hey, I already know what's going to happen with rates, but you never know what Warsh is going to say on the mic. That could be a big reason why we could see some volatility. Okay. Let's go into the dollar as well and see what's going on. On the BMA, I talked about the potential of us hitting this level and breaking down. If so, that's risk on. Over it, I need you to be focused on risk off. Okay? This is just a reminder. I know hopefully you guys already watched the BMA, but this is a reminder right now to like not forget about this, because in the moment of fear and euphoria, you will draw a blank and you'll forget what I was talking about. These things are really important. Set your alerts up. Okay. Notice that current price is underneath this. Okay. We start to bid up, you might want to be careful. All right. Bitcoin, don't really need to talk about 850 points. Nothing to get too excited about. NASDAQ up a 408. Okay. Let's come over here. Let's look at my favorite. That's why I like to call it my favorite. These are a bunch of different names in here. And just want to go down. Apple flat. We're up 60 points in Apple's flat. We did really good on Apple, by the way, guys. We sold the put credit spreads. We made money. Hooray. Right? You should have been excited. We also made money on the calls. We sold those. We made good money. Should have been excited. Moving on down. I heard that the POTUS had had some negotiations with China over the weekend. Maybe BABA could be on your watch list. Okay. Moving on down. Google was, it pulled back last week. It's up a little bit this morning. Amazon up a couple bucks. Looks pretty normal, right? IBM up a couple bucks. Intel up just a tad. Okay. Meta's up just a little bit. Nvidia is only up $2. Okay. SNDK, it's up about $50. $50 in SNDK, guys, is like $5 in a stock. That's how I look at that. I don't get too excited. It's very expensive, and many people in here cannot afford to trade it. Okay. But if you want to trade it, just let me know. I'll give you levels. Okay. Tesla is up a whopping $3. But basically in here, why I'm saying this out loud, I know that you guys can read and you can see these things, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is I'm not really seeing a whole lot that's getting me super excited. Okay. And think about it. Think about this for a second. Why is that? It's because the majority of us are all thinking and doing the same thing. Right? You see what I'm saying? The market sort of reflects how we feel. And I don't know about you, but I'm at this stage where I'm thinking, if this, then that. We're all kind of sitting and waiting now. Will the 23 and 38.2 hold? Right? Will this happen? We don't know. All right. This is actually harder than you think. It's a lot easier when you open up in a demand zone and we've been down for a couple days. I just buy the dip and leave. Okay. Now we're pushing up into a supply zone after a big gap up. And I need to know before I get to, on the thought of shorting, do we hold the 23.6 and 38.2? Okay. So the same thing goes for the NASDAQ futures. We're up 400 points this morning. Okay. NASDAQ had come down into a zone. I kept that on the BMA. I talked about it. That zone's working so far. All right. Daily, I told you we were coming into a trigger long. I left it there. We got our relief bounce. And here we are this morning. And these blueprints you can find in the notes section. They have been uploaded early this morning. Okay. But I want you all to take a look at this. Can somebody tell me what they see on NASDAQ? What do you see? Nice, Rom. What do you guys see? SPX room, Trinity room. What do you guys see? I see dead candles, right? This is a inverse head and shoulders. Right? A little smiley face, maybe? Or am I wrong here? This is possible. These are usually really bullish setups. Okay? Really bullish setups right there. All right? So if this pulls back a little bit and we buy the dip, I think we can move all the way back up here. Now, we haven't actually hit the bearish channel on either one of these. So look for the NASDAQ to give us signs this morning. So we'll be watching these, okay? Now I'm going to bring everybody over to the futures section or the futures screen, which is right here. Now everybody should be looking at the futures screen, okay? This morning, we have so many opportunities to take trades. In hindsight, people will say things like, I tried that trade, I should have waited. I want you guys to know that every decision you make is the right decision. You're not doing anything wrong. But it's so easy in trading 2 minutes later to judge yourself, to say, oh, I should have did this. I should have done that. This isn't working. The market's tricky like that. It tries to confuse you. But you guys know what you're doing. You're awesome. You do know how to trade. Be convicted, know where your levels are, and take action. I am trying my hardest to teach you everything that I know, but to also make you confident. Be confident. It will change your life, not just in trading. It can change your life. Be confident in the things you're doing. You know what you're doing. But as a reminder, when we open up this morning, you're going to notice that we have some zones on here. These are automated zones. Okay. The purple is where we want to look to go long. The yellow, if we're below it, is where you look to take off your longs and or short. The blue is your supply zone. Now, currently, let me just check. I have 4-hour zones on. Okay, these are 4-hour zones. Okay, that's what we have on at the moment. Let's go over each one of these so that you understand. SPX room. One thing that I could do is I could bring in, potentially what I could do is pull up a SPX chart on Thinkorswim and put it next to the TradingView one so that we can see the signals. Okay, now here's the kicker, man. This thing on SPX Premium is pretty BA. BA stands for badass. Okay, so the new beta indicator you could use on a premium chart. You could put it on the SPX chart or whatever, and do the same thing. All right, I could show you that later if you guys are interested. All right. Yeah, the premium chart is goated. It's the thing, man. That's all you really need to trade, man. So it's really cool. So on the left-hand side at this very moment, I have a 5-minute chart, 4-hour zones. Okay, 4-hour, just like that. All right, you guys can see where liquidity chops are. I already told you this is where I want to buy. This is where I want to sell. This is just a waypoint, if you will. On the ES in the middle is a 1-minute chart, and let's go over this. I'm going to use yellow. This right here has nothing to do to just ignore this. These are automated trades for me. These are actual trades that will be taken in my SPX account. Okay. So just ignore these. But basically what this is the PMZ strategy. We'll go more over that if you ever want to. The thing that you want to be concentrating on here is understanding that this big label right here is called shotgun. And what's happening is this is using Mel's confirmation process without any zones or anything. It's literally just looking for the confirmation setup. And this is on a 1-minute chart, so it could flip left, right, and center, right? So for example, this one just gave you an entry. It has a risk of only 1 point. The stop is 75.10. The first target is 75.12, 75.14, and 75.17. You can see it's already hit the first target there. Okay. That's your second target. That's your third target. Okay. Easy to understand, right? Anybody have any questions? You can't access it. You can only look at it right now. Yeah, it's not available until the 23rd. If you follow me on X, you guys would probably get, a lot more information here and there. If you don't hear me on the mic, at least you'll see me post stuff, you know. And if you don't have an X account, just get one. Just follow me and Melissa. Follow me, Melissa, and Simpler Trading, right? Even if you're like, hey, I don't do X, just do it for us. Okay. Over here on NASDAQ futures, I'm on a 5-minute chart. Same thing, guys. I'm on a 4-hour zones. Okay. Now, the only thing is on this one, I have both running, shotgun version and the zone version, I believe. Let me see. Let me see. Yep, both. So, and this one, I don't know if this is both. Let me see real quick. Nope, just shotgun. This one has the zone approach on it. Give me 1 second. Yep. Okay, cool. So this is shotgun in the middle with 1 minute. Okay. This is both. So you're going to see shotgun and you'll see zone short or zone long. What I love about the shotgun is sometimes the way that I have this built, that we may not get a setup right inside the zone. And if I don't have the shotgun on, then I'm not going to see the entries because it's very particular. It's only trying, like, okay, when we think particular, like, okay, so Mel, we get in a zone and she's like, hey guys, I'm looking for confirmation, right? So basically that's what's happening over here when we're talking about zone entries. But over here, I don't care. All I care about is risk. And I'm looking at my charts and going, yep, I want to take this shotgun. So again, you took the shotgun here, you're already up almost 5 points here while I've been talking. Quick, easy, 250 bucks in the ES futures or 25 bucks in the micros. Okay. Not bad. Shotgun is just, again, shotgun is just the confirmation process, Rob. The zone entries are waiting for different things. They're waiting for a price to get into the zone. Then it's looking for Mel's confirmation. Okay. And again, the cool thing about this new indicator that will be released, and believe me, September is right around the corner, guys. The cool thing about this is that we have multiple time frames now. So like if you are a scalper, you can come in here and literally do 5-minute zones, 10-minute zones, 15-minute zones. Last week I was showing you guys the 15. You know how Mel likes to when things are choppy, she'll be like, I'm going to give you 15-minute zones. We did that for hours, man. You just click this thing right here, hit apply. Now we're going to have 15-minute zones. And if things are really choppy, you could just trade the 15-minute zones. All right. And they're going to pop up on the screen. There they are right there. Okay. Which is really cool. But we're going to go back to the 4-hour for right now. There's all kinds of indicators in the world, man. You know, they just make our lives easier. Just remember that. They really do. You're buying convenience when you buy indicators, just a convenience. All right, so let's all get into the zone real quick. It's almost 8:14, 8:15, and let's make sure that we understand today's plan. In my opinion, we are to sit and wait. Okay? Sit and wait. And what we're trying to see is if the gap, okay, is going to hold the bull channel. All right? Can it hold the bull channel? Now, while we're sitting here, I am going to go into a little bit higher time frames. I'm going to find those levels for you real fast. Okay. And I'm getting a lot of text this morning. Oh my goodness. The spam is so wild, man. Do you need $800,000, John? They act like they know you. They're getting really good, aren't they? They're getting really good. It's wild, man. You know, that's funny that you asked. Rom says, "Hey, with the new indicator, do we need to draw out our zones anymore?" So who was I talking with? I was talking to somebody about this. I will never stop drawing manual zones. Oh, I know what we're talking about. We're talking about some trading view indicators. And there's some good indicators out here for things, but I will never stop drawing zones, Rom. There's just no indicator out there that I've seen that can find like precisely how me and Mel teach. So I'm always going to draw some zones. But I mean, you could see right here, man. I just talked to you a few minutes ago. You could short the yellow. Like they work, but I'm always going to draw zones, man. That's just who I am. So that's my answer. And I'm sticking to it. All right, guys. So the major level that we need to hold today is 75.05 and 74.93. So 75.05, right, which is our liquidity chop. Awesome. All right, guys. So liquidity chop, and then underneath that, 74.93. All right, so I'm going to bring another one down here. We're going to go right there. All right. So these two right here. This is your bull channel of that gap. Understood? Everybody got it? All right. We'll see what happens. All right. Looks good. Cool. Cool. See how this short setup right here? So then this was a short setup with a dollar. I mean, if you guys are fast and you're just like trading this stuff, man, you hit T1 here, T2's right here. Pretty good stuff. All right. So if I ignored anybody, if you guys are asking questions, I apologize. A lot of times in the morning, I'm just talking, not because I got to get through all my stuff. Okay. Let's see, Trinity, John. What about the house in the handle? Are we getting together there sometime? Yeah, yeah. You talk about in the sound. So as a reminder, guys, I'm going to Austin, Texas this year. So I've been invited to go out there to hang out with John and some other traders there in the Austin area. So if you'd like to come and hang out with me, that would be really cool. That's December the 9th, I think, through the 11th. We'll have more details. I'm sure Lorna will let people know as well. So if you guys are close to Texas, or even like me, I'm not close to Texas, but I would love for you guys to go out there. One, I haven't been to Austin in forever. Two, I was born there, and it'd be really cool to hang out with you guys. And I think we're doing a simpler get together, with our members. It's gonna be fun. I think that I'm slated to trade live in front of people a couple of those days. So should be fun, man. Yeah, that'd be really fun. Yep, yep. Thanks, Omer, for all that info, man. Awesome. Good luck. Good luck, brother. Blue sky high. Let's go over here real quick. Let's just put on our SPX chart. Sorry, guys. So I got SPX chart going again. Chenny John. The 1 minute flips a lot. So when it flippo, do we exit the current trade? So 1 second. Yeah, so the 1 minute flips a lot, guys. If like when you get this indicator, I don't have enough screens, but when you get this indicator, if you only want to sit on the 3 minute, you could do that. So watch. Now, the thing about the 3 minute, you got to get less setups, which is a good thing. Okay. I am a pretty fast trader. So what happens, the only reason I'm using the 1 minute, everybody, because Shoshana asked Trini, the 1 minute flips a lot. So when it flips, do we exit the current trade? Yeah. I mean, all I'm looking for is 1 to 2 targets. That's it. If you get them all with a quick move, that's cool. Okay. But this right here, so what's going to happen is your risk is going to be typically a little bit bigger, okay, when you're doing 3 minutes because you got bigger candles, right? Typically in 3 minute increments, you have bigger candles. All right. So we can have less, but the only reason I'm leaving it on one for right now, we could switch it, just remind me a little bit later, is I'm watching the PMZ with 1 minute candles. Not only am I recording data, but I have trades that are being taken and stuff like that. So I just like to watch to see what's happening. Okay. And we'll talk about that because I remember I teach you the 1 minute process with the PMZ once we get in the middle. And we have just a few minutes. Let's make sure we go over that. So on the PMZ, remember the strategy that I use a lot looks just like this. PMZ, let's say that price is down here. It's moving up and it closes in the PMZ on a 5 minute chart. Okay. The 5 minute candle has to close in this area in the PMZ. Then what happens is we go to a 1 minute, and I always put a big circle on here so you understand. We're zooming in. Okay. And then we're doing 1 minute candles. And I don't care which way the 1 minute goes, but I'm going to enter on a 1 minute close underneath the PMZ or 1 minute close above the PMZ. That's why I'm watching the 1 minute, everybody. But you'll notice on my indicator here, you're going to notice something a little bit different than what you have. And it's okay. But on my indicator on the PMZ, you're going to notice a PMZ. And then you're going to notice like this little gate around it, like this. If the 1 minute, my voice is going out on me, I think. If the 1 minute closes outside of this gate, it will not take the trade. If the 1 minute closes underneath that gate, it will not take the trade. Okay. because it gives me too much risk on taking those trades. Okay. So that's why I'm watching the 1 minute. But Shoshana, yes, to answer your question, you can flip, right? And if it takes out the stop, then you get taken out. One thing that I would tell people is if you take these trades and you're, in and out, you're doing well, whatever, listen, it's like all probabilities. Like if we win 5 or 6 in a row, take a break, man. You don't have to sit here all day and trade, guys. Okay? Don't sit here all day and trade. We don't need to. We don't need to do that. All right? All right. So here's my PMZ. Do you see it just pop up? It's like magic. Doo doo doo. Right there. Everybody see that? This one right here? It's magic. Okay? Looking at call debit spread, Antonio on SPY into 728, deep in the heart of Texas. Let's go. What date you said? I believe 9th through the 11th. Chris M. John, I'm in San Antonio. Would have liked to go to Austin. I'll be in North Carolina at that time. I'm sure it'll be a great time. Chris, darn it, man. Just don't go to Carolina. I'm going to North Carolina myself. Going to Wrightsville. I believe next month for a couple days. What part of North Carolina are you going to? Okay, cool. Very cool. That's a nice area, man. Nice, Shep. Hmm. Shitty John, I asked support to forward an email to you. I hope they did. Maybe. I don't know. Did they? Let's see. You just gotta see if I'll read the email. I'm terrible at it. I told you guys, man, I did all my time in the Air Force. All we did was read emails and stuff like that. So I told myself after I retired, every once in a while, I'll look at an email. I try. I'm being kind of funny, but I do go through them, but I don't at the same time. I need to really like fix it because I have goodness gracious, man. Man, I'm getting all kinds of weird stuff. You can also just send me an email. Are you an off-topic Texas trader? Can you just send it to me? I don't know if they did. I don't know who it's from. I don't know if it's from Simpler. I don't know if it's just straight from you. But if you're listening to me, you could just email me. Hmm. Jonathan.mckeever at simplertrading.com. All right, remember I said there would be signs from old NASDAQ over here. All right, SPX room, we're going to put this on a 5-minute. And I got 1 minute here, guys. Just as a reminder, I've been doing the orb strategy to compare it to the PMZ, so you will hear me talk about it. And this is wild. My throat is not wanting to allow me to speak. Too much tequila. Maybe. I don't know. Actually, it was from last night. I forgot I was yelling. I got to tell you guys the story once I get an opportunity. Oh, shoot. I forgot to enable my alerts. All right, guys, close out the calls. On SPY. So we're breaking down from supply. Guys, PMZ room, SPX, your PMZ is 74.79 and a quarter by 74.76 and a half. That's what I would do. I would go down a little bit. But you can see it on my screen. It's the blue dotted line. If you have the PMZ and you have TradingView, you do have a PMZ for SPX. I remember that liquidity chop. We just flushed it. This down here is the golden profit of the gap on NASDAQ, 28,540. Okay. This would be an aggressive short if you went short underneath the PMZ. I've not done anything, but we have come back to the GP of the gap. Okay, NVIDIA, our covered calls were up about 50% on Friday. And I believe they are, wait, let me see. I thought they were. Maybe I'm wrong. Move to group. See what they're at right now. They say 22%. That's where I could have swore they said. Maybe that was just a miscalculation by them on Friday. But they are up 22%. And they do expire this week. All right, nice little sell off here. We're getting close to the 38.2, 7493. We might get our answer here shortly. Now, I will tell you that I am looking for, if the 50 by 618 is a thing for gaps, we are there in the NASDAQ. So this is where I'd like to see buyers show up. All right. So from here, I'm actually going to take this and put it on a 3-minute for the NASDAQ because we are at a place where I'm looking for buyers and we're getting close to the 38.2 on the ES futures. So we have some synergy coming here, perhaps. So I'm looking for Mel's process for confirmation in this GP of a gap. You could go to a 1 minute as well if you want a much faster signal. All right, we have a double bottom there on the 1 minute. Sweep that zone. And see how fast this candle just moved? Moved very, very quickly. All right, so this is where I like the 1 minute. With this volatility, I keep seeing this. So we have an area where I'm looking for buyers, right? But you're sitting here waiting on a 3 minute, and by the time that happened, the NASDAQ moved from 28,487 all the way up here. So we probably, maybe already had a signal, but even a 1 minute would have been sort of hard from here. Yeah, now we're just kind of stuck in the PMZ. Still, we are what, 38? Let's see. Where was the 5 minute close on this? The 5 minute close was at 75.05. Oh my goodness. We're just gonna sit around here and chop again? Come on, guys. It's got to get better than this. I think because we are on Monday And we're up about 30-something% on these covered calls. I'm going to go ahead and buy back this as well. So I'm closing out the covered calls on NVIDIA. Kevin says, pull back to PMZ low as a buy or rebuy for me. Gotcha. I'm keeping it focused here, see if we can hold that purple zone. Nice, Janet. Ooh, a family reunion? That's amazing. I wish I could have a family reunion. I guess I'll have one with Simpler. We don't really do family reunions. Not like, with the elders. Be nice though. We had one uncle, he always loved to do stuff like that, but he passed away. He was my favorite. All right, so if you took the shotgun short, we did hit T1, almost T2 here. Yeah, there's always that one uncle, Janet. Like my Uncle Keith, he was the one that loved to cook and barbecue, and he always complained that family didn't get together enough, and I love that because I thought we needed to. But he unfortunately passed at a younger age, 50s. Maybe he was 60. He looked young though. All right, so T1, T2 hit here. I was gonna give it 15 minutes, which we have 5 more minutes, or sorry, 3 more minutes. So right here, that's the 15-minute low. And this is the 15-minute high at the moment. So, okay, so this is a perfect example right here. Shoshana and anyone that pays attention to the orb strategy. So this is where the orb strategy can help us. See how the top of the 15-minute is towards the top of the PMZ? So if we are pushing out of the PMZ and I'm getting long, I also know thousands of people are trying to push and do the same thing in the orb strategy. Okay. All right. So here we're pushing underneath here. So if you're chasing this to the downside, this would be the 15-minute. Well, actually, it's 8:43. My bad. It's not even been 15 minutes. My bad. We're going to 38.2 here, 74.93. Let's see if buyers show up right here. All right. 74.93. Remember what I said? If this, then that. If they can't hold it on the 38.2, just maybe, it's no longer bullish. And I actually got stopped out of a put position in SPX and lost money. And then it took me out on the spike up. I got stopped out and then it faded. That's so frustrating, but it happens. Happens. Happens to the best of us, guys. I'm gonna actually, guys, I'm gonna do a 1 minute right here. I know. I'm turning into the 1 minute trader. I'm doing a 1 minute here on the NASDAQ. I need a little bit faster signal. And there it is right there. $28,505. All right, we're underneath the 38.2. It is 847. That is your low right there at 74.92. This is a very wide range here. Come on. Come on. Let's hold it, baby. Make bulls great again. Let's go. All right, I gotta heat up this coffee. Give me 1 second. Come on, man. Come on. Let's move. All right, man. Come on, a little bit stronger push. Let's go. Let's put some fibs on this from swing high to the swing low. All right, guys, the 50 by 618 is 7502 by 7505. This is actually where I'm going to put on the ES futures trade that I talked about this morning. I'm going to do it for tomorrow. It's going to buy me some time and it's going to be, fairly inexpensive. I think. 40 by 50. Why are you doing that? 40 by 50. It's only a buck. Cool. Control C. Trinity Trading. Futures trade. Control B. That's what it looks like. I only paid $100 for that. The reward is 400. All right, nice little push here. Come on. Give me a 2503. Come on, we're almost there. Shep, you're done for the day already? Nice, man. Did you make money? Man, they are not making the open easy nowadays, man. It's been pretty difficult, guys. Two longs, that was my favorite there. Okay, cool, cool. I'm almost out of my NASDAQ here. If I can just get one little push, man. Why is it the ones that you stare at and you need to win make it never make it to the target? But as soon as you take your profits off early, it goes. You guys ever notice that? Or am I the only one? How does that happen? It's the weirdest thing, man. Oh, I just got filled. Sweet. We hit our target right here, guys. That's my first trade for futures. The story of your life. Yeah. Yeah. So far I've had one futures trade. This guy right here. I took it off right here. Oh, and I've taken the ES one. Sorry. And that's for tomorrow. It's really frustrating. Like I'm actually surprised that I got filled there. It just felt like one of those days where they keep fading me right where I need to take my targets. So I literally had the SPX PMZ short right here, guys, and got stopped out just to watch it go all the way down here. Would have made so much money, man. So frustrating. Not mad though. Not mad. Can make it up. So. All right, so this is that again, this is the orb right here, right? Am I right, guys? Anyone that does the orb is at 74.92. Did I pick the right one? I actually get confused because I would think 15 minutes is 9:45. It looks like we're going nowhere slow. Omer. Yeah, absolutely horrible, dude. Yeah, really frustrating, man. All right, well, do they want to fill this gap or what? Oh, okay. Let's put some levels right here. All right, well, is he at the 88.7 maybe? 74.50? Let's see if they have some power or are they just going to flush the orb strategy? So I think 74.92 was the bottom. Internals are strong, BJR? Strongly disappointing so far. Yeah. Hmm. All right, so aggressive strategy on PMZ paid off. And then also the conservative strategy also paid. So on the ES futures, see how we broke down. This was aggressive. You made money. Put your stops above here. You don't get stopped out. Conservative, you wait for the 5 minute close, then it popped up, then you get short. Boom. So it is paying on the downside. For sure. Let's see, SPX room. The first entry that I gave you guys this morning worked for a nice bounce. But that was right on the open. And now the second entry was right here, but I don't see any confirmation. So nothing to do. And let's go to, let me put some fibs on this SPX chart right here. Nice. Oh, all right. Let's see about micros today. Let's see if I made $100 yet. Oh, almost 65 and 58. Yep. $120 right there. Had to do it in two different ways, but did do it. We're very close to the 618. And right about here is where I want to flatten. Now I told you if this, then that. We broke the 38.2, 74.92, and it happened to be, I think, if I'm accurate, this also happened to be the orb 15 minute. So we got not only did the process of fading the 38.2 work, but it also gave you the orb momentum. So people trading the orb got short underneath here, which helps us in our strategy as well. And by the way, this short setup for the 1 minute paid big time as well on the NASDAQ. So you hit T1, almost T2 here. Try not to overthink this. Just if you guys like the trade setup, you take the trade. Don't overthink it. You hit all targets right here on this short setup. L1, where's that BJR? Nice. Good job. Nice job, Wendy. 15-minute strategy paid huge again. Nice BJR. It's one of those things now, 618 to 88.7, yes or no? Like, let it push up first. But if you like the 85% rule, there's a possibility. I'd prefer to fade something after it pushes back up, though. SPX, you're trying to hold the 618 of the gap. Same thing here on the ES futures. Get this out of the way. There we go. And for you guys, 74.26 and 74.16 SPX room, if we can close under here. I'm not fading this right now, though. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to give it a few more minutes, see how I feel. I mean, it's crazy. The NASDAQ was up 400 points and now it's at 40. You know what I mean? Remember, 2 and 1 minute candles. If you can't even get over the cloud of a 1 or 2 minute cloud, bulls, your thesis is dead. Even if I'm at a demand zone, if we can't pop over a 1 minute cloud, guys, don't get, what I'm saying is if you try to get long, just do it with a little bit smaller size. That's all. See how we just came up and hit that 1 minute and then they faded it? Crazy, right? Meanies, man. They don't want you to win. Had a little bit of slippage there. I was trying to make a quick 100 on ES, but only made 50. But I've definitely hit my 100 plus for the day on futures. Really want to fade this thing all the way back down. Let's see. Let's put a little, if you put a trend line on it, it'll work. Let's see, Texas Trader. I think if you're the one that email me about win rates and all that fun stuff. I mean, if we're talking futures, man, my win rate's probably like 90+%. Um, if we're talking about trading, it just depends. I mean, I think I keep like a 60 to 70% win rate, maybe better. I don't know. I actually, just about 2 weeks ago when I came back, I canceled my TradesViz subscription. I don't like the numbers they push out because if you trade a lot of SPX spreads, kind of gets messed up. I wish Thinkorswim would actually keep a log of win rates and stuff like that. They don't, right? Anybody? I mean, I've been using them since day one. Does Thinkorswim keep a log of win percentage? Schwab, do they do that? Shep. I was reading your comment about the thing. Yeah, not to my knowledge either, Martin. And I think last week on PMZ strategy, won 3 days out of 5. The other two, I turned it off and didn't trade it. And then the week before that, had a couple winning days, couple losing days. Nothing crazy. All right, guys, get this over with. Either we're gonna have a nice push here all the way back to 74.57 on SPX, or we're getting down to 74.16. But I need a decision. This is ridiculous. Let's do, just for fun, let's do 15-minute zones. Just in case we are getting in chop. I don't know. All right, here's the 15-minute zones. And on a 5-minute, I'm going to take this off. It's kind of hard to see. On a 5-minute, a push from here would be to the golden profit area. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? What in the world, man? Would be right here, 74.86. Take profits around 85. Anyone think we can actually make it there? Come on, baby. Let's see if this little 15-minute zone can actually work. So we'd be looking for this yellow one right here. Come on, baby. All right, guys. I'm actually walking down to the dock real quick. I'll be back. All right, awesome. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Hey guys, sorry about that. I had to make a phone call as well. Flatten. Oh, come on. Slippage again, I swear. Cool, cool. All right, let's see if we can move up. Maybe my timing was off, guys. See, I should have stayed out at the dock, huh? Return to cloud like a Martin. RTZ. Let's go, baby. RTZ. Or RTC. RTC, sorry. Let's go. Now I'm starting to feel like we're going to have a 7,500 pin today in the ES futures. Feeling like it. Well, we open up in supply, guys, and this is one of those things that I always say. You open up in supply, then move down, and then you're shocked. Then you get to go back and you go, well, that was the supply zone, right? So we can't be bitter or anything like that. We open up in a supply zone, prices pulled back. What I would be doing is probably here in about another 15, 20 minutes. I'm going to give it a little bit of time. That's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to give the market a little bit of time. I'm going to walk away until 9:30. I'm not going to walk. I'm going to be back here. But from 9:30, then we'll start looking at our watch list. All right. We've been putting a lot of focus on, ES futures, NASDAQ futures, SPX, but really, we also want to maybe start dabbling, taking some trades here. Did pretty good last week. See if we can continue that streak here. I just want to see what else is going on. IONQ plus 12%, QUBT, SMH, whatever. Some is an early drag on tech. Okay. Let's see. I'm thankful this is not happening at the PMZ right now because they've been chopping that PMZ up recently. $15-minute zone, trying to hold here. Keep it there. Trendy mid edge. That's where we're at, guys, at the moment. Very close to the 88.7 down here, by the way. Got a green zone on Qs all the way down here at 27,974. They actually went from 400 points up to red. Very happy I closed those SPY calls on the open, guys. That was cool. I'm going to add to my position on the futures trade. So cheap. I mean, guys, is $1, which means $50. So I'm buying another one just in case we get a rally. I'm going to post this in here. So I have 150 bucks of risk there for the ES futures for tomorrow. Okay. So far. So far. My guy. Mm-hmm. Let's move that down. About right there. 74, 74. Yeah. Yeah, you got to get over all that congestion right there for sure. Yeah. Well, so Kevin, do you mean like to greet the buyers, as in like to show them a rude awakening? Thank you for buying right here, and then it comes down and smacks them in the face. Yeah, 100%, man. It's exactly what's happening. It's such crappy action, guys. It's very difficult. So difficult in the sense like if you're not staying like just chill and fading this from the supply zone and you keep trying, it's difficult from there. But if you faded the PMZ, faded the supply zone, then it's actually working out quite well. Yep. I want to check out NVIDIA here for a second. I'm going to also pull up a premium chart for SPX in a minute. Damn, NVIDIA is down 6 as well, man. Come on now. NVIDIA is at the 88.7 right here. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna flatten my short here. You guys can see it there. So now, so far, I've made some money on the ES here and micro NASDAQ. Let's see what we got. You can see my trades right here, folks. Boop, boop, boop. 74.61 to 57. What in the? Oh, there we go. Okay, right. If I come up too high, I don't really. So I made 287 here and 65 here. So it's been almost 60 minutes. I made almost $400 trading the futures there. We hit the 88.7. Let's see if we get anybody fade the 618 to 88.7. Any of you monsters out there do that? Who did it? I want to know who faded that 61.8 to 88.7. I knew it, Janet. You guys are monsters, man. Jasper, I'm being funny, right? Like I don't mean that in a bad way. I did the same thing. It was hard for me. It was hard for me, Janet, to stay convicted. It was taking forever, but um, it worked. So it would have been a lot better if I just would have stayed short on the ES futures the whole time. So, Janet, do you know a place called Sips in Oklahoma? I think that's the name of it. Sips? It's like a soda place. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you, BG or CC. Let me know. Give me 1 second. I got you. Sorry about that. There we go. Ooh, it's ugly. Okay, should the MNQ, should we just fade this thing all the way down to the green line here or what? Not until it bounces back up, okay? Not until it bounces back up. Guys, 1 minute, 2 minute chart, man. If we can't get over that, I guess the BMA theme was we get the opportunity to short on the gap up if we got that move up. That's exactly what happened, man. Now I've only profited $400 on it. The worst thing that happened to me today is I got stopped out on my SPX put. God darn it. So hard, man. That's the hardest thing is when you have the best trade, but you get stopped out, man. Right? You guys agree? No. Got a phone call. Give me 1 second, guys. Hello? All right, guys. So ugly action here. Sorry, I had to take a phone call there. Just continues to break down. It looks like we're going for the gap fill. So the Fibonacci's really helped us out. Did I think we're just going to keep selling off like this? No, I don't know if it's another war catalyst of like over the weekend. It's like, oh, hey, everything's good. And then you come back in, it's like lied, right? And then straight back down. So, of course, this is going to keep going on. It's not going anywhere. The issue is that they're using it as catalyst to kind of push price into supply and demand. So, I'm going to take this level off as well. We're getting down to the line in the sand. That's what I was going to fade this bad boy, you know, all the way down to my green zone. But it gets a little scary sometimes trying to fade the NASDAQ or trying to go long because it's easy to get stopped out on. It's just so expensive. But to be up 400 and drop 200 is pretty gross, if you ask me. Mm, I got you. Well, there's always a reason, Mark. Always a reason. Always a reason to drop prices, right? All right, we're at the zone for entry on SPX right here. Okay. If we get confirmation, we could look at a trade. I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm going to go to, well, I'm not going to go to a 3-minute. I'm going to look at the 1-minute here for a bit. Do you really want to hurt me? Well, it's kind of nice. Got to close the SPY calls for profits. And then, if it keeps dumping, then we make money in our puts. So let's go. You know what I'm going to do to make this a little bit more interesting? I'm going to bring up a premium chart of SPX. Calls. Give me 1 second here. Let's go with like, I don't know. Let's do a 1 DTE. Although we do have 26%. Let me just look here. Yeah, 7450s. I'm going to load these. Send to green. I'm going to make this green just for a second. Boom. Active trader. Hi guys, so in the SPX room, excuse me, I'm going to put this chart right here on the left. We're at an entry area, okay? And what I loaded was the 1 DTE that expires tomorrow, the 7450. And I'm going to pull that down right here just to show you. See how the new indicator right here, I could go with this trade, getting in at 11, stops at 1040. It's only $60 a risk. I would probably make that 100, if I wanted to take this trade. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the zone here. Now this is a 1-minute confirmation. I can make this a 3-minute if you want to slow it down. Everybody understand what I'm doing here? SPX room. So I'm in the zone again. Now this zone has been used a lot, right? But now what I'm doing is I'm loading this entry, okay? And if I wanted to, I come over here and I could do, let's see, SPX $100 risk. It's already gone up 50 bucks, but, and let's say I want to make $200. Then I just do something like this. And what's this, 1040? What? Let's see, 1130. Oh, shit. 35 and original. Okay, and then I don't have an entry yet on a 3-minute. They're just watching, right? Trying to confirm. I'm at an entry area. I loaded a call for tomorrow and I'm watching the beta indicator to see if I get the setup. Everybody understand? These are the things that I'm doing to get prepared to potentially take a trade here. Okay. These are expensive. That's the entry, and then 1040 would be the stop. Let me just, shit. God dang it. Let's just do 130. Okay, about right. What is this, 1135? This is not this account. You guys are not going to see this trade if I take it. And we made a new low, so I'm not doing anything. So immediately when it's set up, it moved too fast in a way that you just kind of fill it out. I was like, So we start the process over and wait for the next setup. Now, personally, I think what will happen by the time that buyers come in, this will be a place where it moves too quickly and I'll miss it. That's just me. That's why I like the 1 minutes, especially when I start looking for, focus entry here. But this is a bracket trade. These are really fun to use. You can also do trail stops just so that, you get used to not losing. Like this says 130 bucks if I were to take the trade here. Trailing stop would be, here, let me just show you 1135. Let's go ahead and go right here. All right, so that's what the trade would look like. So I'm already in. So I either lose 130 bucks or I could come up here and I can make 200 bucks. Okay. All right. So if I'm scalping very quickly, I'm already up 50 bucks, In this case, I'm just more committed to losing 130 or making 200 bucks here. Okay. All right. Now we're up 80 bucks here. Now, if I want to flatten, I can also just flatten the trade. Okay. The other thing I could do, watch this. I could bring this up and I could pull my stop up. Okay. So like, let's say it gets to 100, I could pull it up real quick and make sure I only lose 50 bucks. Does that make sense? I love to sit here and show you how to play cat and mouse with this thing. That's where it gets really fun. So see, we're at 12. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this up. God dang it. Stop moving. I'm going to pull it up. Now I've ensured that, if I lose, it should be break even. What I'd really like for it to get about 150 and then we come up and then we keep moving this up. Okay. Now you can shrink this like that. Hit these little plus and minus marks to make it smaller so you can see everything. Come on. Just give us a teaching moment, guys. All right, 1170, 1190 again. Come on. Give me like 12, 1230, 1250. Come on. Yeah. And stop for break even. So sorry. I was trying to it gets really fun if we keep moving up. Then all you do is you raise these stops up and then you raise your take profits. Okay. But it's a good demonstration how fast you make $100 though, just messing around here. Blue Sky, Trinity John, if we take a 1DT SPX, doesn't mean we risk more than 80 cents if we don't close the trade before end of today. So if you take a 1 DTE SPX, I mean, if you take a 1 DTE SPX, I mean, see how I just traded this and had a stop on it? This is how I would trade, guys. Like, if you guys are not using active traders and you're actively at home trading, you're missing out. This is the best way. Like, sit in front of here, take your trades, move your stops up, pull your, do those type of things. You can actively trade. If you're trying to trade from the monitor like that, oh my God, you got to wait for it to like load. You got to like hit send and it's just super, super slow. This is in and out. Any trade that you take that you do not close out is full risk when you go to sleep at night. So if you're buying a 1 DTE and you don't close it, you're risking that entire position. Okay. So we're still in here. We got a little pop off the trigger long that I've given you guys. So this little green dotted line here. We got a little pop off of it, but we'll look again and see if we get another setup. It's just good practice, you know? Also, you can use this indicator and fade things. So like say up here, we had gotten the short, which I know we did, the short setup, you could have sold call credit spreads here. Okay. So here, what we're doing is we're going to wait and see if we get another setup. This is a 3-minute. Let's try a 1-minute setup. We'll see. Does it get, rejected fast? Does it not? Can you show how you take SPX or XSP and transfer it over to Active Trader? So SPX, all you do is right click. So what I did here, Bill T, see how it's green? See how that's green? All I did was I right click on where I buy on Thinkorswim on the options trade, and I say send to green. I'll show you real fast, okay? Bill, you watching my SPX chart? You ready? So come down here. You got to pick the option that you want to trade. Okay. And then you're just going to simply right click on it. And then you go send to the color that you set up on the active trader. So like mine is set to green. So it's over here on green. Sorry, right there. Okay. All right. We have a low here. We have a higher low at the moment. at previous lows. Thank you. All right, so what are we looking for here on a 1 minute? Does it take out this low? Takes out the low, the process starts over. Oh, look what they just did to us. Okay. Right here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm already up here, $70 on this trade. Like it's that fast. So if you want to be fast, you got to be fast. Okay. You can see I entered at 10:30. So now what I could do is I could bring this all the way up. I'm going to put a stop. I'm going to get stopped. I'm just showing you guys a couple techniques, okay? Still looks good. This stop has not been stopped out yet. I mean, these would be sick, right? Go from 10 to 18. Now we're at 11. Okay, entry is right here. It says entry 1020. So you're up $80 here. Now you're up $100. See the gray marks? That's where the last sell came in. What I'm purchasing when I buy, right? Already pulled my stop up, got stopped out on the trade. So what I'm purchasing is right here, Janice. It's the same thing every time. 74.50 calls for tomorrow. That's the call that we're looking at right here. So this is the price action of the premium of that. Okay. Now you get a really nice run from here. You can hit these targets very quickly on entry. Okay. Like we could tighten this up to $100. Like say it's really choppy conditions, right? It is. It's really choppy conditions. So if it's choppy conditions, I probably want to tighten up my take profit, right? If it's not trending, it's going to be really hard to hit big numbers to the upside because we're not really trending, right? Now, this is from a scalper mindset. I prefer to just go long in a green zone. That's where I'm different. I like to go long from these and walk away. But if I were sitting in front of the charts, I love the active trader. Okay. This is still a current trade, right? Stops down here at 8 or 90. Not bad. It's $120 a risk, or risk is 100. Janice, did I answer your question though? So every time I just have a 740.50 call. And when I get in, what you'll see on my screen, not that I'm showing you the technique. So right here, you'll see my net position go up, right? So if I'm in the trade, it's going to say 1. Okay. Now you could do this on SPY. You could do this with XSP. So like let's do XSP real quick. I don't like trading XSP. I'm actually not a big fan. But let's do XSP and we'll go 1 DTE. And I'm going to put, I don't know, I'm going to put this guy over here. We're going to send this to the green. All right. So this is XSP right here. Same thing. I could look at the 1 minute setups, the 3 minute setups. I mean, you pick your poison. Here we are. This one's not bad. Like my stop would be at 2. All right. So I'm just going to put $1 in here. Okay. And this is more my speed. You could just take this trade and walk away. This is a 1 DTE. I'm going to do a bracket trade here. Okay. So I'm in the trade. And what's really cool is on the premium chart. Okay. On the premium chart, I can move my targets up to, I'm using trendy edges here, right? Pretty cool. So from here, let's say that I want to get out of the trade when price hits the trendy edge from underneath. It's right underneath there. So I know what it's going to be at. So now we have a stop for $100 and we have a take profit on here. Let's see. Let's just go to our first target here. So around 320. Okay, so it's about 100 for 100 here. Anybody in the SPX room? How many of you guys? Okay, I need some participation in here. You guys are quiet as can be, man. Everybody's actually quiet today. I think it's just Monday. I'm not mad at you. How many of you guys are using Active Trader in the SPX room? How many people actively use the Active Trader in here? Okay, cool. Good. I love that then. Good. I was actually kind of scared that most of you guys were not using this. You don't really need to use an Active Trader for a swing trade, but it's still fun to get in and like watch it. Like you can learn a lot from an Active Trader. You can learn a lot from watching an Active Trader. You get the feeling of what's happening here. Like you understand like momentum. Like the last person to buy or sell was at 246 and price jumped down to 235 real quick. All right. So this was the last time an order came through. See 246. Somebody sold at 246. See that? Somebody bought 10 of these at 250. All right. So let's watch the Active Trader over here. This is actually pretty fun. Now, price could go all the way towards this way. We could hit this 300 pretty quick. Yeah. Like Spencer said, you can see how volatility expands and contracts by the movement. It's pretty wild, right? So the last buyer was here, but the bid and ask has jumped up here. So look, no one's come in on these options here. Ah, shoot. What time's my appointment this morning? Good morning. Just following up. Blah, blah, blah. Ten o'clock. Ooh, I got an appointment in 7 minutes, guys. We're gonna keep this on here. SPX room. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this chart off. I'm just gonna keep the Active Trader here, okay? So what I'll do, and we could do this daily. Literally, I could do this daily with you. This is what I've been trying to make happen here in the SPX room. I feel like if you're trying to follow trades, I need a clear like picture, you know. And I feel like this does the job. I mean, don't you guys think? Like having an Active Trader up here, you can see exactly what somebody's in. You know what I mean? It's like, why not just show the entries and exits right here? This is a lot easier to follow than anything else. And it's so easy, right? So if you guys, I mean, if you want me to do this daily, I 100% can. I have no problem doing that. We're either going to win or lose. I mean, the outcome's the same, but I think that you can at least see things and see how you can enter trades very quickly. Okay. Now this is pretty lame because this is a XSP, but SPX, that trade that I showed you guys, that was $10. I think that's trading now at let's see here. That is trading now. Might be the same. I don't know. Let's just see. Is it decaying? 74.50s. Oh, they're at 1270. So they're up 200 something bucks. So I mean, this is a good example. This is a micro, and we made 25 bucks, right? This is 1/10 the size of SPX. So like where we entered at 237, 47, 57, 67. This is more, this is 30 bucks and it's $300 in the SPX, guys. Awesome, Seth. I have no problem doing that, man. Okay. Absolutely no problem. All right, so see, we're up 32 here. That's $320. And let's see, how much are those 74.50s going? Yep, they're up $300 right now. So what did we do? We came into the NASDAQ zone, we started moving up. We came into the ES zone, we started moving up. We just had to be patient this morning. Just had to be patient. NVIDIA is actually very close to the trendy edge again, guys. So I'm going to add a few trades here. Luckily, I trimmed last week, right? Which ones do I want to add? I probably want to add right here. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1 right here. Let me see if I can get in for $17. There we go. Okay, so I added to my 220 calls. And then I'm going to go out again. These guys, when did they report earnings? I'll get this screen back on here in a second. I had to go to my other account to buy these NVIDIA calls. Anybody know when is NVIDIA's earnings? Yep, Matt. That's why I'm added to my position here. Exactly. Dude, I just saw your comment. Matt's all over it, by the way. Matt is always paying attention, man, to these charts. It's awesome. I do need to type in just for 1 second. And if you guys followed me here, you're almost up 40 bucks a contract on the XSP. I should have just kept SPX on there, but whatever. Let's see. Let's see. And if you're looking at trimming, you want to get ready to trim right here, literally right here. Okay. August 26th. Thank you, Silverback. Thank you, Spencer. August 26th. Damn, we still got a while for the bleeding, right? All right, let's go ahead and flatten this trade. Right. Did that flatten? Did I flatten? Oh, maybe I didn't. Let me see. Nope, still in the trade. Okay, cool. It's about 30%. So this is what I'll do. Instead of flattening, here is a oh shit, it took the things off. That's what it did. Okay, let me show you guys real quick. You ready? You ready for this? Let's say, yeah, I'm ready, John. Let's put the stop in. Now watch this. Everybody, we watching? SPX room, trendy room. You watching? So I have my stop in. Okay, everybody look right here. I got my stop in. I am going to right click on the stop. Damn it. I had it perfect. Let's go right here. Let's put the active trader on. Sorry. Chart. Active traders on. Oh my gosh, can we hurry up? Yay. Oh my Lord. All right, there it is. So over here on this part, watch this. Right click, cancel replace order. Okay. We are going to do what's called a trailing stop and click right here, trail stop. And we're going to trail stop this by 10 cents. Confirm and send. Now, instead of me just taking the profits off, okay, that Michael got it. Thank you. Instead of me taking profits off, let's write it 10 cents or $10 away. So every time it keeps going up, this will follow up. All right. But you can see there, I got stopped out. Not a big deal. But that I'm just trying to show you how fast you can put this as a trailing stop. Okay. Let's take that off. Now, the reason why we closed right there, active trader chart, is just because we came up to the 38.2. Now, this is a lot better when you have multiple contracts on. Because if you have multiple contracts on, we could have just trimmed. All right. And went for the full baby up here at 7444. Okay. All right. All right. I'm late. I'll be right back in about 30 minutes. All right, guys, I'm back. So let's go ahead and see if we want to make some more trades. That was a good idea to sell there at the 38.2, but we're back at entry here. Let's try. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to try again on a confirmation signal to go long. So actually, I mean, I don't mind buying here again, to be honest with you. I'm just going to buy here again with a bracket. Let's do, what in the hell, man? Okay, 02 9225. Nope, not that. Yep, still on XSP. Yep, right here. That is the one. 742 call for tomorrow. We'll see if it holds up. I don't know, man. Market feels weak, guys. I try not to overthink it though. And what we could do is we got 2 in here this time. So let me just open this up for a second. Active trader chart. I totally forgot before I left to sell some credit on Nvidia. And when I was driving, I was like, what the hell, man? Why is my account down so much? And I noticed that Nvidia is having a really hard time. So about right there. And let me put this on, take this off. But I was thinking about selling credit for this week too, but wasn't sure if that was a good plan, you know. Didn't want it to go against me. And all that stuff we went through, Michael Bolin, to get these charts going, dude. I was so happy. I came back and they worked perfect on Friday, but now they're all messed up again. I don't understand why. It's like I couldn't get it to stay on my futures charts. Let me just check them one more time, see if things changed. Price act, see? Well, auto. See, we changed all this. We changed all this. But we changed, like, why didn't this stay? I saved the trendy 5 screens right here. Do you have to save it somewhere else as well? Oh my gosh, man. All right, let's see if this works. Man, market is not happy. Let me go to NVIDIA and sell some more. I need to look at the chart for NVIDIA real quick, guys. This thing is a dumpster fire, man. They didn't get a deal or something? Is that what you guys were saying? Oh, come on. So you come all the way back to this anti-nut formation here around 195, and we're trading at 196, 194. Okay. This is about the area. I mean, if they flush this, they flush it, but this is about the area that I want to sell put credit spreads. So let me get back to the SPX chart for you guys. All right, let's go right there. Let's get individual. Let's go by Friday. I was unable to sell this call credit spread. Cancel order. I try to sell some there. Let's go. $195 by 190. It's $1.69. I don't think they're not giving me enough money for these. Max loss 300 something. Return is 100 and something. I don't like that. All right, there we go. All right, well, we're taking out the lows, guys, so that's not a good sign. But we're still in the zone, so still in the zone. I'm watching Nvidia. I'm trying to get a good idea. Um, I almost want to sell the 200s for this week, but I feel like that could go against me very quickly. But I also don't want to be afraid. Don't want to do it while we're sitting in a zone, man. I'm just gonna talk myself out of it. Yeah, no, thank you. Not gonna do that. Let's see. I sold earlier. I sold the 210 calls for 21 August. When is their earnings, guys? You said the 26th, right? I don't know. We're getting very close to a demand zone on Nvidia. That if it works, I'd hate to sell more calls right there. So, okay. Yeah, I mean, isn't this where you save? Well, save flexible grid. That's what I did. Save workspace. Where is that? Oh, I got you. I got you, Rob. I understand that part. Okay. It's a lot, man. I don't, I need like a professional besides me that can't do this to come in and like just do all my charts for me because they're a mess. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey, right before I left, wasn't the market going up nicely? Oh, yeah. Right into the bear channel. Remember, when I run errands, the market goes down. When I go to the dock, the market goes up. You guys should have that in your notepad. That's how it works. All right, big test again. We got above the 1 minute cloud earlier when we had that breakout, but Can we get over it again? If we do, I really think we're going to close around 74.50. So I'm going to take an SPX pin for 74.50 today, guys. Wait, sorry. 74.50, that's 20 points from now. So on SPX, that would be 74.15 or so. Let me look. God, this one's hard, man, because we're sitting at 7,400 at 11 o'clock. Ay. All right, let me think about this. 22 points. Yeah, I mean 74.15. Weird number, but I think I'm gonna try it. All right, guys. So I sold the 74.15s and made them only 5 wide. It's only a 50 risk for a potential $450 if we were to pin that perfectly. But basically, what I'm saying is the ES futures may pin around 74.50 today. Okay, so about 20 to 22 points away from here. Of course, if we keep diving, take out the lows, it's just going to get uglier, but I'm willing to risk 50 bucks on it. So, whoops. Actually, use that flat that. Yeah. All right. All right, let's put this back on this account so you guys can see either my profits or deficit on the XSP here. I'm just going to keep that running right there. And then I'm actually going to take a little break and go see my wife out in the yard and turn off the recorder and let the market kind of do what the market needs to do. And then we'll come in and potentially do something at the end of the day. That'd be fun. Maybe I could put it on an active trader as well. It just kind of depends if I'm in front of the charts or not. I do have someone coming out to look at my boat lift at 2 o'clock my time, which is an hour before the close. So I may or may not be in front of the charts at that time. But I'm just going to go outside for about 30 minutes to an hour, take a little break, and then I'll come back and assess the market. So you guys keep your chins up. It's just a move down from a supply zone, and we're trying to see if we're going to hold this demand. So we'll know. I say we'll know in the next